Okay. This is my second attempt at making this video for you. I had hoped to be at your meeting, that the Trojan Tribune is really happening, and it was something we had hoped would happen, but obviously we needed to get students on board, and now we have them on board, and that's fantastic. There are a couple quick things that I want to talk to you about besides just saying how happy I am that there is this group of people and that you're doing this work and that this can really come true. The first one is that I think it's important to have a conversation at some point about editorial oversight and who's going to sort of vouch for and evaluate the articles that the newspaper chooses to write. In the past, we had a school newspaper for, I think it was a class actually, and it was only for a couple of years, maybe even a couple of semesters. And there was an incident in which one of the articles was pretty heated, and some people's feelings were really hurt. And there was a sense that the article had not been very balanced, and things had not been presented very fairly. And the teacher seeing the newspaper was blamed for that having happened. And it just reminded me, when we were talking about the newspaper, about the issue of, okay, who says this is all right to print? Or to post, as the case may be. And I think it's important that you guys have a conversation about that at some point. Is Mr. Arnold, does he look over things or not, et cetera, et cetera? Does Dami do that? How does that unfold? I'd be more than happy to help and support in that conversation, but I think it's an important one to have. There's a rule of thumb that I've heard, which is old-fashioned, but it's simple and I like it. And people suggest that you use it to measure sort of what you pass on and what you don't pass on if you're trying to avoid gossip. And the rule of thumb is it necessary? Is it true? And is it kind? And that those 3 pointers should all be sort of checked off before you run with something. That's just a suggestion, something to think about, and certainly a conversation that we can have if you're interested in having that conversation. Some other time, probably in person. And the other thing I want to throw out there for anybody who's interested is that I've been really aware of the fact that we have alumni from MDI out in the world doing really interesting things. And some of them are actually here in this world doing really interesting things. They're still on the island. They're doing, they have cool jobs. They're building cool buildings. They're having adventures, various different things. And I think it would be awesome if we could profile them. I was joking with Mr. Arnold and I said we should have a bulletin board. Of course, you guys have a digital bulletin board. But it might be a really good experience for some of you, any of you who are interested in doing interviews, to consider that as your interest. I could hit you up with a few people or a few parents who would be interested in talking about their child who graduated from MDI. But I think it would also be great to have some alumni interviews, and I think that might really increase the traffic to your site. I'd be more than happy to talk to you guys about that. I'd also be more than happy to leave this as a one-shot deal. Thank you, Miss Leamon. See you later. Don't forget that second breakfast is at the library today. And I hope you have a great meeting, and I look forward to the next edition of the Trojan Tribune. Thanks a lot. Good night.